Zach Pugh, Jamar Perkins. It's crunch time. It's crunch time here, live in the studios of Austin Peay. Zach Pugh joined as always by Reese Britt. No Jamar Perkins today, as James Ingersoll will sit in today for us. James, obviously you and I go way back. We've had undergrad together. Now we have grad school together. This is your last day. It's your last ever show with me on Crunch Time. It could very well be my last Crunch Time show. A lot of finales for our finale today,
it
right?
Really is.
For those wondering, Jamar Perkins not here today because he is on his way to Nashville, Tennessee to call the Vanderbilt versus Austin Peay State University women's basketball game that you'll find live on air at WAPX-FM, Clarksville's 91.9 FM, and you can also find it live by going and looking at the schedule as well, because it's a live broadcasted show for ESPN+. But without further ado, let's get into this stuff because we have a lot to discuss in a short time to get there, right? How has your week been? I re-edited this. It's no longer weekend. It's just week. It's Thursday. Right. We've had a week. My week's been meh. That's how I'll say that. I can't complain if I did. It never does me any good. James, let's ask you. How's your week been?
Good. Not bad. Wrapping up all my final papers, school, wrapping up the show.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun week.
It is. Reese?
Fun show.
Reese? Yeah, no, it's good. Just wrapping up the first semester. You guys are kind of winding down your school. Well, I've got 2.5 more years, so that's to make you either feel old or to make you feel grateful for what you guys have done so far.
I think you did.
I think I'm the oldest one in this room still.
Jamar's not the only one that's throwing jabs anymore in this show. Okay, let me tell you that. But no, I'm going home tomorrow.
Jamar leaves and Reese just starts throwing punches random.
Okay,
go ahead. You're
going
home tomorrow.
I'm going home tomorrow for Thanksgiving break. Excited to get back with family. Being an athlete here, it's always tough because you're at the mercy of your schedule and stuff like that with athletics. So it's always good to go home and hang out with the family a little bit. So
we don't know how it is being an athlete here, but we definitely know athletic schedule definitely keeps our days. We've been entwined with that. But I think that's a great transition into Austin Peay Sports as women's basketball. Congrats to their win on Monday against the Chattanooga Mocs for the Mockingbirds. The final score was 58-53, a very close nail-biting game, but the Governors get it done against a very tough opponent inside Chattanooga's home. They will play, as I said earlier, Vanderbilt tonight in Nashville. The game will start at 6:30. The pregame for that game starts at 6:15, and you can find it live on air, and you can just tune in because those games are going to be great. Men's basketball, congrats on their win against Milligan. The final score was 98-74. The men's team will play South Florida Thursday night at 6 p.m. That is coming up as well tonight as well. And I know that you had some more about this, Reese.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the final score to that game, 98-74. So you can look at it two ways. You can look at it in one area of, Austin Peay scored 98 points. That's a lot of points for a Division I basketball game, no doubt.
And for the men's team especially.
Right, and for the men's team, that prides themselves actually on the defensive end of the court.
Right.
But really, that's not the case in this past game. You're giving up 74 points to an NAIA school, and, you have aspirations of making the tournament. You've got aspirations of, maybe pulling off an upset in the tournament. Well, you're not going to be able to give up 74 points and be able to achieve what you want to do for the rest of the season. So,
absolutely.
And they've already had 2 40-point losses on the year to teams that are probably going to make the tournament at the end of the year.
NC State for sure will go.
Yeah, NC State and Purdue. Purdue's a ranked team already.
Too.
So it's just interesting. It's a very weird dynamic around the men's basketball team right now. But kudos to the women. They're handling business, and we'll see what they can do tonight.
The women are 2-0 right now on the season. They're playing 4-0 Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is number 2 in the SEC right now in basketball.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough game.
It is.
I'm going to go ahead and say that. I will mention South Florida is no chump tonight against the men's team, and they're gonna play ball. And South Florida can run away with it.
They're going to have to play well.
Yeah.
They're going to have to play well to win, no doubt.
If you're the men's team, it's going to be trying to stop the perimeter game in general when it comes to South Florida. South Florida's got a great set of shooters outside in the perimeter. But ultimately, to kind of build off what you're saying there, it's for a team that wants to go right to the playoffs or to the tournament. The last time Austin Peay did that was with MTSU, Vanderbilt, and UT all made it. It was the first time that 4 major schools, and I think even Memphis made it too.
Yeah.
It's the first time all 5 to 4 major schools made it into the tournament, and it never had happened before in history. I think that was back in 2013, 14, something like that. Sounds about right, because I remember Tennessee was a buzz about it. Obviously, Austin Peay lost first round, so did MTSU and every other school besides Vandy and UT, and then I think Vandy loses the next one, then I think even UT loses the next one too. So that was a year of rough basketball for us all. But I want to congratulate the Austin Peay football team for their win against Kennesaw State, 31-14. That is a great win against an A-Sun Conference opponent. They will play Alabama Crimson Tide this Saturday at 11 a.m., and APSU has a 0.4% chance to win according to ESPN's matchup predictor. I feel like my beard and hair are safe. That's all I'm going to say.
See that? I'll do it with you.
Oh, yeah?
Beard, no hair. I'll do it with you.
Fair. As everyone notices, I've gotten a little scragglier now. I mean, no shave November's helped, but, you know.
I was about to say, I'll do the same. I'll shave the beard. I already don't have too much hair, so I'll say that. I'll go ahead and shave the head if Austin Peay wins. But I mean, Nick Saban even had his press conference before, and he was saying, you know, that Austin Peay they're pretty much preparing like it's any other game. And it's interesting. He gave Dre McCray, number 10 for us, a really good shout out. He said he's a phenomenal player.
He is
dynamic on the outside. So we'll see what Austin Peay can dial up. Maybe make it a game for the first quarter, but you know, Alabama, they're coming off with vengeance.
Do you have something to say? I was going to say DeLello is going to be under pressure all game.
100%.
And DeLello
100%.
has proven under pressure, doesn't really look for McCray that much. Burns gets a little bit more looks when he's under pressure.
Yeah.
As much as I want to say McCray is going to do good this game, I think the Governors are going to have a tough time offensively against an Alabama Crimson Tide team that is ready to make somebody pay for all the losses they've had this season. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a great transition into college football, as we had a lot to talk about today for college football.
100%.
First off, rankings. Georgia obviously at number 1 right now at 10-0. Ohio State number 2, Michigan number 3, TCU number 4, Tennessee at number 5, LSU number 6, number 7 is USC, Alabama somehow is at 8, Clemson at 9, and Utah at 10. Guys, I've been gauging these questions. It's their time to predict, right? Obviously, it's our finale. We're not going to be able to be around for the college football playoffs, and if we are, we're probably going to miss a little bit of time while it's going through. Walk me through this. If we were to shut the door today on this, college football playoffs would be Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU. Obviously, Ohio State and Michigan play each other this weekend. I don't think Ohio State's walking out of that with – well, I don't think Michigan's walking out of that with a win. I think Ohio State's walking out with that with a win for sure, especially with Young. Yeah. I just think that they're not Young, sorry. With Stroud, yeah. Young, Stroud. I was thinking of Alabama still. With Stroud and at Ohio State, I think the team itself is just playing a lot better offensively than Michigan's defense. Even though Michigan's defense is good, I just don't think that they're defensively they've seen a quarterback like Stroud and the weapons that Ohio State has, because Ohio State has more than just Stroud. I mean, they've got good receivers, they've got a good running back, they've got a great offensive line right now. They're just playing complementary football. Yeah. So I personally think that Ohio State stays. I think that opens the door for Tennessee.
Yeah,
I think Tennessee gets 4.
It does.
Yeah, and I will say my prediction right here is going to be Georgia 1, Michigan number 2, Tennessee 3, and Ohio State number 4. Now the reason I have I've got 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams, and the reason I have that is Tennessee's 1 loss. Their resume is better than anybody in the country.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. Yes. So they're going to get in, even though Ohio State, TCU I think is going to lose sometime down the stretch of this game. They got Baylor this week. It's at Baylor, so that could be a trap game. Baylor's not played well this season. I get that, but I just think Michigan and Ohio State. I think Michigan's the better team there. And hear me out. I
agree with you to an extent with coaching, but go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that if it's a perfect weather day, if the climate's good, if it's 40 degrees and sunny, that I think Ohio State wins by 14 points. But if it's on the other end, if it's snowy, rainy, 35 degrees, whatnot, it's going to be Michigan by 14 plus points. Yeah, it's Ohio State.
So if for those not knowing, the Cleveland Brown Buffalo Bills game has got a big snow out thing, and that storm's running through that area before it gets to Buffalo. Yeah, supposedly. So there could be snow there.
Michigan, Ohio State actually plays on the 26th of this month. Michigan plays, I believe.
So that would be next week.
So not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. Yeah. Michigan plays Illinois this week at home, and Ohio State plays at Maryland. So they got tune-up games before the big one.
I mean, tune-up games are good and all. Don't get me wrong. Maryland's going to give some fun times. They always have good players. I mean, you've got Stephon Diggs came from Maryland. There's so many
5-star wide receiver Raheem Jarrett. He plays for them right now, so they attract talent.
It's a good school to be at. But overall, ultimately, I like your top 4. I think TCU is just going to drop regardless. I don't think TCU is going to stay.
Even if they go undefeated, Big 12 championship. I mean, they got to be.
No, I mean, if they go undefeated, they're in. Yeah, I mean, they're in.
That's what I'm saying.
The hypothetical is. So here's my question: does Alabama have any shot?
No.
at all?
No
None?
shot.
No,
They've lost to both Tennessee and LSU. They have no shot.
So Tennessee and LSU should get in before Alabama.
Yeah, 100%, because Alabama has no chance of playing for the SEC championship. So they have no resume building wins on their schedule, pretty much, unless, Auburn's not even close to being a resume building win.
How great is it that Alabama's not in this playoff?
It's
phenomenal.
I mean, no offense, Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide.
You guys had it's a
UT fan saying that. You guys have had so much time to be able to enjoy your pedigree. It's time to let some teams enjoy it, like Georgia and UT. Jamar Perkins did happen to pick this, by the way, because we are talking about playoff predictions, right?
Yeah.
This was Jamar's response as I'm pulling it up real quick. He picked Georgia to win it all.
This sounds like he's got LSU in this thing.
I didn't see LSU in there. He didn't actually. We actually didn't get a. I didn't get a breakdown from him when it came to who was going.
Gotcha.
But what I heard was, doesn't matter who's in the bracket. Georgia wins championship easily.
Here we go.
That's what I got. I don't fully disagree with Georgia being a powerhouse. I think Georgia's going to be really strong, and I think whoever faces Georgia, because Georgia will make it to the college football playoff.
Yeah, 100%.
They'll make it to the finale. Yeah. But whoever makes it with them is going to have a tough day.
Yes.
Even if it's Tennessee, as well as I do, it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, it is. But
I mean,
there have been multiple experts, so-called experts. I almost don't like to label them as that, because nobody's an expert. These are college kids. These are 19, 20, 21 years old kids. True. But they said that Tennessee missed opportunities in that game that they don't miss.
That is true.
And
a lot of people blamed the atmosphere in Georgia. I don't. But here's my argument with that. You do not do better at a neutral site zone, regardless, because you just take that game and put it in a neutral site zone. It doesn't matter. Nothing changed. You played the same game.
Yeah, but it does, because Tennessee had 8 pre-snap penalties. It was the same. It was the same situation what they did to Alabama. Because they took them out of their game, and Georgia can do this to a lot of different teams. Pretty much any team they play, they make you play their game.
Oh, they do.
And Tennessee fell right into that trap that I don't think they will.
Yeah. Jay?
Look, though, it's a Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
Right in Georgia's backyard.
I mean, he's right. I mean, I hate to say this, but if you want to talk about neutral, if you're talking about neutral zone, I'm not saying that Tennessee doesn't have a chance. I'd love to see Tennessee win a college football playoff, despite my hate for certain fans that have them. That are because I like you as a fan, and I've told you about my family being fans and everything, and we're friends, and you're a fan. Yeah. I just got one person that I can't stand that's a fan of him, and I don't want him to be right.
Yeah.
All right. But at the same time, plus he hates Georgia, so it's bittersweet when Georgia wins.
I'm not a big Georgia fan either. I mean, I'll put that one out there.
Vols fans hate the Gators and the Bulldogs with a passion.
I'll tell you this.
They don't care about anybody else.
Bama.
Well, I mean, I can see Bama, but they really don't care about anybody else besides.
Bama's number 1.
Yeah, I will say. But
I can see that. I can see that.
We are rivals with whoever we play on that Saturday.
Yes.
And that is a fact. We hate whoever we play on that Saturday, and I love it.
I can agree with that.
UT fans will hit the Governors next year.
Yeah, that's right. What is that, week 3?
I think week 3. Week 2, week 3.
I don't know.
It's early in the season.
Unfortunately, I will not be here possibly for that. So
I know.
So
I won't
I
be.
graduate. I graduate in May, and then after that, we'll see. Yeah. Thanks.
Jay, who do you have in your Final Four? Who's your Final Four? We haven't asked you.
Georgia, Ohio State, TCU, and Tennessee.
All right. Let's
Ohio
go.
State winning it all.
Oh wow.
See, I've got Georgia, Ohio State, and I'll say Tennessee. And you know what? Even though I think LSU played so bad at the beginning of this year, I think TCU just drops out of this.
I can see TCU winning out though.
Yeah, I definitely.
If they win out, they don't
have a very tough.
Ultimately,
road.
my final 2 games is probably Georgia and Tennessee.
Love it.
That's gonna be my final.
But I think Georgia's winning the game.
Yeah.
Only because you're in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
We keep saying that, but Tennessee, you guys don't understand. Georgia's been here before.
I know.
This is the first time since 1998 that Tennessee would be playing for a national championship. You don't think Tennessee fans are going to travel for that?
I didn't say Tennessee fans weren't going to travel for that, but you said
it would be a 50-50 split, no doubt in my mind.
But let's look at the first part of your sentence that you said. And plus what Jay said, it's in Georgia.
Okay.
And Georgia's been here before.
Yeah.
It's been over X amount of years, over 20 years since you last listed.
Heard it again.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Right.
I'm saying that when you start considering who's been and who's not, those games play a big effect to a lot of things. They really do.
Yeah.
Clemson proved that when they played Alabama.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I will talk about that breaking news in a minute. Actually, it's a great transition. I want to talk real fast about NBA standings as the West has had some changes. So has the Eastern. Obviously, a very young season. This was stuff I pulled out on Tuesday, so these could have changed over the last 2 days. But Portland was number 1 at 9-4, tied with Denver. Then Utah, because Utah had played too many games, and Denver and Portland hadn't played as many games. That's why Portland and Denver went above them. But Utah at 10-5, Memphis at 9-5, Phoenix at 8-5, Dallas at 7-5, LA Clippers at 8-6, Sacramento at 7-6. Sacramento at 6-6, New Orleans at 7-6, and Golden State at 6-8. In the East, Boston leading at 11-3 right now. Milwaukee 10-3, Atlanta 9-5, Toronto 8-7, Cleveland 8-5, Washington 8-6, Philly 7-7, Chicago Bulls at 6-8, doubles. Indianapolis Pacers are 6-6, and the Knicks are 6-7. That rounds out the top 10 for both of those. It's a very, very, very young season for right now.
No doubt.
Not a lot has happened. I know that Boston has gotten some real good games.
Yeah, 8-game win streak for the Celtics, my Celtics, and they're looking really good. I'm excited.
With no Jamar here, he can just give his fandom out so fast.
I love
because there's no one on the opposite end to hit him with it.
Well, I mean, Golden State is having an atrocious season so far.
But have you seen Curry?
Yeah. No, I get it.
Steph looks so good.
I know.
He dropped 47 one game. I think he dropped 48 another game. I mean, he's just doing good this year. But we'll keep you guys updated throughout our social medias and stuff throughout our break about the NBA season. Obviously, the NBA season will be going on when we return, hopefully for crunch time.
Sure.
But overall, it has been great to see how it's happened so far. I just hope Memphis gets better.
Yes.
Because they should have won 5 games that they lost, personally. But that takes us into NFL. NFL. And speaking of the NFL, we just had some breaking news. I mentioned it earlier. The Bills and Browns game had some snow that was looking like to be 3 to 6 feet of snow. They have now officially moved that game to Detroit. It will be played in Detroit at the stadium of Ford Field. And that's huge. That's a neutral site zone that changes the whole game.
It really does.
Because if they're in Minnesota wins that game, I think by a touchdown. To be honest, but now that it's a neutral site, that could be a 3-point game. I mean, we already saw it was a 1-point game between the two teams. Or I was sorry, not Minnesota, Buffalo and Buffalo. And I'm mixing games today.
Save that for later.
I thought the Bills and Browns game. I thought the Bills would win that game if it's in Buffalo, right? Because they're used to it being out there. Even though Jacoby Brissett was the last one to play in 3 foot of snow when he played for Indy against Buffalo, and I think Indy even came close to winning that game. I just thought Buffalo was going to win. Now that it's neutral site and it's in a dome, you give both teams a good option to win that game. That could be a very good game this weekend.
Interesting point with the Bills. They'll play 2 games in Detroit in 5 days.
Ooh.
Sunday against the Browns, and they're back there Thursday night.
Against Detroit.
And I'll tell you, they might not even go back to Buffalo.
They won't.
They'll just stay. Yeah, and that's smart. That's very smart.
All right, let's talk about the NFL standings real quick. As the AFC North, Baltimore is leading that right now at 6-3. The AFC South, Tennessee is leading 6-3 right now. AFC East, it is Miami 7-3, and I've got something about that in just a minute. The Kansas City Chiefs lead the AFC West. The Minnesota Vikings are 8-1 and lead the NFC North. Tampa Bay took back sole possession of leading the NFC South. In the NFC Beast, as good old Reese would like to call him. Philly is 8-1 after losing to Washington on Monday. I'll give Reese time to celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
I'll celebrate after we finish right here.
And in the NFC East, Seattle wins 6-4 right now so far. We got a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to this. First thing I want to talk about is the last time that Miami was 7-3. I was telling Jay this morning, and it was actually pretty interesting to see. The last time Miami was 7-3, they had 24 different starting quarterbacks since then. They've had 8 different head coaches. They've had 7 stadiums. The Heat had 0 titles. LeBron was in high school. The iPod had just came out. The iPhone was 6 years away. Tua was just 3 years old. Mike McDaniel was a freshman in high school. And Tom Brady was a rookie. That's the last time that Miami was 7-3.
You're making me feel old, Zach.
I feel old after reading that. That's insane. I do want to congratulate Coach Ron Rivera, as we talked about Washington Commanders. He is the first coach ever in NFL history to defeat 2 8-0 or better teams on the road twice. The other win that Rivera had come across was in Week 13 in 2020 against the 11-0 Steelers. Reminder, the 11-0 Steelers after that win just dissolved. Mm-hmm. They couldn't win any more games. They just flopped out all the way to the playoffs, and then eventually just left out of the playoffs with nothing.
I was about to say, I think they got beat maybe in the second round.
They got beat in the first round because it was, I believe, a Buffalo win that got them that.
Yeah.
Either that or Cleveland, because I know Baltimore was in that year for the playoffs. If I remember
that was a tough draw for Pittsburgh anyways. beside the point.
But that is huge things. I also want to say that P.J. Walker is dealing with a high ankle sprain, so Panthers coaches announced that Baker Mayfield will return to being the starting quarterback this week against the Baltimore Ravens, playing from the Carolina Panthers. Cooper Kupp is also probably likely out for the rest of the year with his ankle injury. There's a video right now surfacing through ESPN that shows his surgery and what happened. It's brutal looking. I mean, it just does not look good. Yeah. And we already talked about Jacoby Brissett. That was the memorable game at Highmark Stadium in 2017 against Indianapolis. Brissett was the quarterback for that game. So it's ironic the snow just follows Brissett everywhere. And this is Jacoby's last game because after this week, the Browns have a bye week next week. And then Deshaun Watson will take over to become the quarterback for the Browns. As much as I don't like the man, I do wish them the best of luck for the rest of the season. I also hope that he gets sacked 2,000 times from week 13 to week 18.
Well, you were not able to walk.
I don't want him to walk.
What I wanted to add real quick here is that Cleveland is still in the hunt for that AFC North. They're 3 games back of Baltimore. If Baltimore has, maybe an injury to somebody, God forbid, but if they have an injury to somebody or if something goes way wrong, Cleveland could sneak right back up into the playoffs. And with a playmaker like Deshaun Watson, anything can happen.
I mean, in talking about that, Deshaun Watson, before all of the scandals and all that stuff, was compared to being the Michael Jordan of football. He was really good in Houston. He was winning games in Houston that they shouldn't win, and it was all on his back. It was not because Houston had the players. It's not because the coach called the right plays. It's because Deshaun Watson took off and did like a 75-yard run and beat the Chiefs. That's just what happened. And
right.
I no discredit to the guy as a player. Just the scandals ruin you as you keep going. Yeah. And I do hope that he has the best of luck for the rest of the season. Yeah. But I hope they lose every game.
I mean,
I really do. He's been out for a year.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
probably more than a year, right?
He's been out. He's missed 2 seasons, I think.
Pretty much. 2 or 1.5.
And now coming into this one late, I mean, the Browns do have a chance. The Browns schedule, not the best schedule to end the season. But they do have a chance. Let's talk about that, though. Who will make it to the playoffs? Obviously, right now, we know that Miami's looking like they're going to make it. Buffalo looks pretty good. We know Baltimore would go if they shut it today. We know Kansas City would go if they shut it today. We know the Titans would go if they shut it today, right? Mm-hmm. I think probably there's still a linking in for maybe the Jets to go in, I think, possibly. I think that's enough teams right there. NFC North, we know that Minnesota's probably going to go. Tampa Bay is probably punching the ticket. There's no way Philly and New York don't go.
No.
As of right now, if we were to shut it off today, and Seattle would go, right? I want to know, who do you think is there any teams that I didn't mention that you think is making the playoffs? Let's start with you, Reese.
Okay, you want to start? Yeah,
I want to start with you.
Interesting.
I got about 8 minutes.
Okay,
for this.
Good. Interesting caveat: every team in the AFC East and the NFC East have the ability to make the playoffs. Every team is currently in the projected playoffs, except for Washington, and they are a half game back of a wild card spot, and they are half game back of San Francisco. That is unbelievable.
Okay,
from where they've come from to where they are now,
it's unbelievable.
Pretty good.
It's great.
That's
great.
Phenomenal.
I think that they're going to make the mistake of starting Wentz.
That is true.
Coming back up, and that's going to be the problem. No offense to Carson.
Yeah,
Carson just doesn't fit the system.
He's horrible. Anyways,
I'm going to say he doesn't fit the system because I like what Ron Rivera has been saying about him.
It's just he doesn't fit our system. You're right, and that's the nicest thing I can say about him.
That's why I'm saying it that way instead, because Riviera has said some good comments about people talking about his play and coming and asking him and stuff like that. And I think that Wentz is getting a very bad end of the stick for this. With that being said, who do you think's making anybody that you think's making the playoffs that I didn't mention? You think the Niners are making it?
After getting McCaffrey, I think they're going to.
I think so too. They got a lot of weapons. I mean, they got a lot of weapons.
Him, Debo.
Yeah. So who's going to the Super Bowl?
Okay. Yeah, I've got.
I don't have anybody extra going to the playoffs that I didn't mention. I'm just going to go ahead and mention that now. I think everybody who I mentioned is probably going to make it. I'd love to see the Commanders go in because it would be huge for them.
But I was say they're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. We're a few years ahead.
Hey,
but anyways,
wild card teams make it, man.
Yeah,
the Giants weren't supposed to go back in the day, and they beat Tom Brady and the Patriots when they were undefeated. So.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I like where your head's
Cinderella
at.
stories happen. Yeah, well, you won't like it later, but that's cool. Let's continue. Super Bowl. What do you got?
I've got Buffalo from the AFC, and I have got the Minnesota Vikings.
Who's winning
from the NFC? I've got Buffalo.
I
think Buffalo.
You got to score it all, or just
give me. Super Bowls are usually low scoring. I like 27-24.
Okay, 27-24 Buffalo. And you say because Buffalo is what now?
Because Buffalo has too many playmakers on the offensive side. They've got the best quarterback in the league right now. from a skill set, and then the defense, they're pretty much, once they get everybody healthy, they're the best defense in the league by far. I believe.
Can I make one comment?
Sure.
The fact that Allen and Buffalo Bills have blown the last 3 games, while having a lead. Same thing happened to Baltimore, and they went after Lamar. They have not gone after Josh Allen for this. I'm waiting when they lose their 4th game, because it's going to happen. They're going to lose a 4th game. Yeah. They're not going to probably, if they lose to the Browns this weekend, say hypothetically lose the Browns this weekend, if they're not talking about Josh Allen like they talked about Jackson and Brady and all the other guys that have been playing this year about how they're not doing good and they're not going to be XYZ, I just think it's rigged at that point. Because there's just no point in not talking about how bad Buffalo's been these past 3 weeks. They've been playing bad football.
Yeah.
They have. They should have won they should have beat Minnesota. They should have beat the Jets. And who was it that beat them again? Was it the Miami that beat them?
No.
Who was it? The other random loss that it
You're talking about. You said Minnesota, New York,
and the Jets. I know for sure beat them.
And then I can't remember who beat them that last time.
See, it's that irrelevant that we can't even figure out who it is. That's how bad it is.
But I don't think it matters in the grand scheme of things who you lose to in Week 7 of the season. They're going to peak at the right time.
You're right,
because they've done it before. And they're too good. They have too many playmakers and too good of a coach to not peak at the right time.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a brand new coach. Bob Dole's been doing a good job. He's been doing a great job for him.
They got McDermott.
Or McDermott, yeah. Sorry, Dole came from them to New York.
So that was offense coordinator.
Yeah. See how it's been this week, man. This week has just been crazy for me. I've been all over the place.
Yeah.
Who do you got for Super Bowl pick?
Young Guns. Eagles, Dolphins.
Eagles, Dolphins.
2-1 Hoats.
Who's winning?
Eagles. 24-21.
Okay.
Last second field goal.
I wouldn't like that.
I'm going Philly, Baltimore. Because I think Baltimore, after Monday night, proved that regardless of injuries that happen in the tight end position and the wide receiver position, they can win a game. Yeah. Even though I know it was against the Saints, they proved they can win a game. So, with that being said, I'm going there. I think Baltimore wins by 3. And it would be, as the Flocksville tweeted it out, 30-27 would be my pick. Now, if that happens, it's great. If Buffalo goes, I hope, all for them. But I hope they lose to the Eagles. But I still think the Eagles are going to the NFC. I don't think anybody else is getting them. Although I do wish Minnesota good luck, and I kind of hope Minnesota goes. Yeah. But I know Dr. Barron and a couple other people will murder me after the show because I didn't pick them. But with that being said, we don't have much time. We got about 4 minutes left, a little under 4 minutes. When it comes to Thursday night, we got the Titans versus the Packers. That is tonight. Green Bay favored by 3. It's in Green Bay. It's Ryan Tannehill versus Aaron Rodgers. Both don't have really good receivers. Both have decent defenses against the run, but the Titans are better on the run game. Who do you got? Titans?
Tighten up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going Green Bay. I got it. I got to. I can't pick the Titans for this game.
The high up there in Green Bay is 29. Chance of snow. I think the run game is what's going to be the difference. And Derrick Henry, they're going to feed Derrick Henry.
The Tennessee Titans
over and over again.
They always forget A.J. Dillon when they play the Packers. They do.
Yeah,
and A.J. Dillon has been very quiet this year, so I think Dillon's going to have a good night. Let's go to Sunday night. Chiefs versus Chargers. Kansas City is favored by 7. I've got the Chiefs for this one.
Okay.
Jay.
Let's go Chiefs.
Okay.
Okay, I got Chiefs too.
Yeah, Chargers are too banged up walking into this.
Yeah.
Monday night, we got the 49ers versus the Cardinals. It looks like Kyler Murray will actually play for the Cardinals, but San Francisco's favored by 8. I've got the 49ers. Too many weapons.
I've got 49ers as well.
Okay.
Yep.
49ers
as well?
100%.
All right, so let's talk about this one. We got about 2 minutes. We can do this. Cowboys versus the Vikings. This is the closest game I found out of all the things that we had. It is Dallas favored by 1 point, and it's in Minnesota. I think Minnesota's walking out of there with a 3 to 7 point lead.
Okay.
I really do. No offense to the Dallas Cowboys or anybody that, yeehaw, Jeff Matthews. I don't care. I don't care. Here's the thing. Your team's just not playing consistent enough on the road to be able to beat teams like Minnesota. Yeah. The Vikings are doing great football, and I just don't see them happening. Who you got?
I got Vikings. I think the home field advantage is going to just kind of blow the Cowboys
The fact that
away.
that's a 1 point game is ridiculous.
It should probably be a 3.
Yes.
3.5.
I mean, if you're going to give 3 to Green Bay, why would you not give 3 to Minnesota?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because the Titans aren't better than Dallas.
No.
I mean, let's be real.
No, yeah, and especially at home, a 1 point really.
Right. You're really giving Dallas a lot here. And then what do you got?
Going Vikings as well.
Vikings as well. Hey, look, Captain Kirk's been getting it done in Minnesota, and Justin Jefferson. Let's just be real. That man caught that ball with the help of a corner, using his hand as his own hand. I don't care what anyone says. That's how that video turns out to be.
But for the rest of that game, he dominated. It wasn't just that catch. Everybody sees that. But, I mean, the rest of that game, he was just absolutely dialing it up in the secondary. So it was great.
As good as I wanted
it wasn't
to be.
good.
No, it was better last week. It was better last week. With that being said, that's it for all my notes, guys. I want to thank you guys week in and week out from coming here. Obviously, coming in and helping me with the show, coming in and being here and a part of the show. You guys have made Crunch Time something that I never thought it would be, and I'm very appreciative of this. Reminder, you can find us at APSU Crunch Time at Twitter and on Instagram as well to watch our updates. We'll even have updates if we happen to shave our heads or go bald because of the Alabama APSU game.
That's a special TV. That's a special episode.
Maybe,
we have to.
possibly.
I'm going bald anyways. So
yeah, well, I get you there. But I want to once again thank Doc V, David Ellison, Steve Sawyer, Jay. Thank you, Wicks, Joanne, Trey as well, running stuff. Jamar Perkins as well for being a part of this show as well. It's been great being a part of Crunch Time, and I've been excited to be doing this every year, and I'm thankful for it. We'll see you guys next time for season 6, hopefully, for Crunch Time.
That's right.
And you guys have a lovely holiday break. Enjoy graduating Jay, and we'll see you next time.